Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be an interesting one because I wanted to talk about tarot and manifestation and how you can actually use tarot to manifest. Okay, so tarot is nothing but a powerful tool that you can use to figure out what hidden limiting beliefs, those sneaky beliefs that sneak up in our subconscious mind are, or what you're doing right, or what to think from the perspective of. Okay, that is what you need to see tarot as. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that when you're watching a tarot reading, okay, like I know a lot of you are trying to manifest a specific person or whatever it may be, a job, career opportunity. During that tarot reading, you guys, a couple of things to take note of. First thing, okay, affirm, like while you're watching that tarot reading, I'm not even kidding. If you're just affirming in your mind, that's going to give you good practice for when you actually interact with your manifestation, when you interact with your specific person, when you need to interact in the 3D. Because some of you will meet your specific person, or you'll talk to your specific person, and they'll act a way that you don't like, or can even be a little bit triggering. But in your mind, you need to keep revising that. You need to keep or thinking of that end goal, living in the end. Like, even if your person came up to you and said like, hey, I don't like you, I don't want to be with you, we can only be friends, nothing more, whatever it may be, in your mind you have to be like, nope, well, you're actually in love with me, you're obsessed with me, you want to be with me, you don't mean that, you're just a different version of my SP, you're not even the SP that I want, you're like a doppelganger, we're in a simulation, we're in a video game. Okay, or the easier thing would be to just think from the end goal, like, oh no, we're in a happy, healthy, committed, loving relationship. Obviously you wouldn't be saying this, obviously I'm not in that desired timeline or reality, so I just need to keep affirming and persisting. Okay, I will give you my own experience. So one time I was getting a tarot reading on my specific person, and the tarot reader, you guys, like, I don't even think this was tarot, I think this was cardomancy. She was using this program, I think it's called like the Book of Destiny. It's really interesting. It's like just cards, like reading someone's like birth chart, or like uh kind of like their destiny through their cards, or through playing cards. And it was like a program. I think she had like a Dell too. It looked like one of those like old like PC programs. But yeah, I mean, but as she was reading it, she was saying certain things that I didn't really like, but in my mind I was just like, no, this is not true. I just know, like, because like some of it actually didn't even resonate, it wasn't even accurate. So I actually asked her, actually no, before I even asked her, the reading started changing a little bit. She's all like, wait, actually you were right and I was wrong. Like, she said that you were right and I was wrong. And I was like, holy, like, manifestation is real. Like, I do have the power to change my story, talking about this card here, like mid reading, I'm not even kidding you. She turned around and said, wait, no, you were right, I was wrong. Because like I told her, like, are you sure about this? Because like I told her about my situation, and I was asking her questions, because I think that program, like, it would show like a 1-year life cycle, 7-year life cycle, and like you can see like at what age things will happen, or like if you're asking about a specific person, what age will they be in your life. And she was like pretty much every age, like she told me like, yeah, your SP is going to be in your life. And by the end of it, like she said something in the beginning that was like a little bit like triggering. I was like, wait, like that makes no sense. So I was like, can you like because that program, again, it was pretty like advanced, it was like pretty intricate. Like, I mean, you could spend like hours analyzing what those cards said, because you can look at like every single age and see like what's happening. And there's all these transits going on in the planet. Like, honestly, I feel like you could like you know make an entire major just studying those cards. Okay, right? Like but yeah, like literally mid reading, she's just like, wait, no, you were right, I was wrong, like and then like by the end of the reading, she said, thank you for pushing me to see all the possibilities of the situation, because she was only reading like one aspect of it, she was only clicking on a certain aspect of that program. But during the reading, in my mind, I was like still looping my affirmations, I was repeating my affirmations. And then she was just like, wait, no, actually I noticed this card actually says something else. And then she started looking at other parts of the program, because again, this is like a pretty intricate program that just shows so much more. And she was only looking at a section of it, kind of like data. Like, I work in tech, it's just like there's so many different aspects to data. That's why there's little jobs created, like data analysts, to like see every single aspect of it. And that's exactly what manifestation is, you guys. Okay, when you repeat, when you robotically affirm, like I'm probably going to hype up robotic affirming in every video if you haven't already noticed, but when you repeat your affirmations, you start seeing things from a different perspective. Like, how there's some people that meditate, and when they meditate, they they can see like other dimensions that were not previously available to them, or that they weren't previously conscious of. Okay, because here's the thing, everything is available to you all the time. Okay, past, present, future, everything is happening all at once. It's just what you're conscious of is, what's being projected into reality. You're just seeing a snapshot of, the bigger picture. But like, there's some people that meditate so much, and like, they're able to like, think from the 40, think from like higher levels of mind. And let me tell you, the closest I've gone to doing that is via robotic affirming. I mean, I love meditation, don't get me wrong, I'm not as consistent with it. Like there's different types of meditation, by the way. Like, robotic affirming is a type of meditation. When you keep focusing on one thing, you're focusing on that affirmation, you switch to a reality where you're seeing things from the perspective of whatever it is that you're manifesting, aka living in the end. You're switching to a different reality where you have what you want, where you're seeing, again, your reticular activating system, gets activated when you affirm for, whatever it is that you want, and you start seeing from that perspective. And you're collapsing other timelines that are not in alignment with what you want. And the thing is, sometimes you can kind of be in between timelines, or actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, it's not necessarily that you're in between timelines, it's more so like you're in another timeline that has some of what you want, but like not all of it. Like the best way I can describe it is like, think of like a half black and white movie and a half color movie. So it's like, a movie that's like, half in like black and white and half in color, or like, maybe it's like the picture is like there's pops of color, but like the rest of it is like black and white. I know that's like an artsy thing that like, some people have done with their pictures, right? Like that's kind of what this like weird transitional period, this sort of like, in between period could be for a lot of you that don't have like, the manifestation that for a lot of you that don't have your desired reality or manifestation, right? So but you cannot give up. Like you can make the entire picture color. Like, you can add color to, that picture, and like, that's a metaphor for like, you can get your full manifestation. You can collapse other timelines that just don't serve you, that you don't like, that are triggering you. Okay. And the other thing, I wanted to say, is that when you affirm for like, your person to be loyal to you, committed to you, monogamous, they're only into you, they don't have eyes for anyone. Again, you can literally change and revise the past. Okay. Like maybe it'll come up that, okay, maybe you were like, oh my gosh, I saw this person go on a date with this, other person, or I just saw them with the other person, and it turns out it wasn't even a date. Like that's happened to me so many times. And like, where I thought like, someone would post like a picture. Actually, yeah, wait, did this, like this has happened to me a couple times, where I completely thought like, okay, what, this person posted that they were here on their story. I thought they were with like another girl or something like that, and then like maybe I did some like social media stalking just to find out that it was actually their sister. Like I went to their sister's page, and like maybe from a different account, like I saw that, oh wait, like they're at the same place, that this person's with their family. I know that sounds so creepy and weird, but trust, like we've all done that social media stalking. I mean, if it's available to you, like it's fine. Like there's nothing wrong in a little bit of social media stalking. But I will say, if you're trying to manifest, you guys, keep the stalking to a minimum, keep the 3D checking to a minimum. That really does expedite things, because at that point you're not fighting your, like fighting what the 3D is currently showing you, because then you're going to keep like pivoting your manifestation, because like you have this end goal that you want to be with your person, but then you keep checking the 3D and you might see something triggering, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to change my affirmations. And then your brain gets confused. They're like, okay, what do you want? Do you want the end goal, or do you want to like micromanage everything? Like at the end of the day, it's your assumptions. If you want to like interfere with the middle, you want to like affirm for certain things in the middle, that's fine. But like you have to stick with it. Whatever it is that you're doing, you got to stick with it, otherwise your brain gets confused. I know that might be a little bit of limiting belief, but I'm just telling you guys from my own experience, when you stick to a couple of affirmations, 2-3 affirmations, mass oh wait, what am I saying, max, why did oh my gosh, okay. Total throat chakra. um oh my gosh, you guys, like where was I'm like kind of going all over the place. I usually do that in my videos. If you guys have been following me, like that's just like my style of doing things. Like I feel like that's yeah, information dumps, I think, like are the best way to get my points across, although next time I will try to be more organized. But anyways, what I was saying is that, oh my gosh, what was I even saying? Yeah, 2-3 affirmations max, so your brain doesn't keep getting confused. Okay, like that. Yeah, when your brain gets confused, like remnants of your manifestation will come through, but like you have to keep going until you get that full manifestation. And the thing is, you guys, you can still affirm for other things, but as long as you're saying your 2-3 affirmations, then that's fine. Like let me let me repeat that. You have to be saying your affirmations, just keep it simple, 2 to 3 affirmations. And then if you want to affirm like, other things on top of that, that's fine, as long as you're saying those original things, okay? Then it's fine. And you can even add like, I would even recommend like, writing down 2 to 3 affirmations, right? And then like under it, like write down the things that you want, like 2 to 3 blanket affirmations. And then like, have some sort of visual that you look at. Like if you're saying like, I want to, my SP and I are in a happy, healthy, committed, loving relationship, right? Or my SP and I are in my dream relationship, we're together. So then under that, like write down what that looks like and get as specific as you want. Do you want them to buy you gifts? Do you want them to give you attention? Do you want them to like, spend quality time with you? What does loyalty, sort of look like to you? Like what do you want them to do? What do you not want them to do? And like, I mean, it's actually okay to write like, what you don't want them to do. But like, if there's something that you don't want them to do, then like, like some like people have like different like, I guess interpretations of like what counts as like, disrespectful in a relationship. So you can just write like, no, they're always respecting me, they're always respecting me, they're always respecting me. Like, there's like certain people, again, like people just have different standards for their partners, and that's okay. I'm not here to judge. Like, I know some people, like, one other thing is like, don't gaslight people for what they want in a relationship. I know some of you may have felt that way. Like, I know some people, I've like follow couples online where like, I kind of look at like what they do on social media, because like, I want to like model my relationship after them, right? And like, I see them being respectful. Like I'm just gonna be very honest with you. Like this is just one example. I know some of you can relate to it, but like, when you're in a relationship with someone, there's some people, and I agree with this, think it's a little bit disrespectful to like, other people's like, provocative pictures. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know some people be like, oh, that's too strict, that's too like weird. But like, I've been in relationships where like, people, that I was dating understood that. And I've also, experienced like the opposite. And, I realized like, okay, well, I know I don't want the opposite. I want to be with someone that respects me. I'm not liking people's provocative, like, men's provocative pictures, if I'm with a guy that, I really like, right? Like that's just an example. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that. Okay. Flirting, this, that, like, just figure out what that like respectful, good relationship looks like to you. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that was kind of a vulnerable thing to say. Yeah, I'm sorry if I like overshared, but anyways, okay. I feel like, yeah, again, I was all over the place, but let me get back to the original point. Okay. So tarot is a tool. It's a really helpful tool to help you understand where you lie with your manifestations, or where you're at with your manifestations currently. Okay. So and there's different ways of interpreting tarot. So right, like everyone's gonna have a different like story to tell. Like, the way that they look at the cards is, different than the way that you look at your cards. But here's the thing, okay, this is what you really, really, really need to note. Everyone is just reflecting an aspect of you. So let's say you come across a tarot reader that is a little bit strict, that is a little bit harsh, that's a little bit like, okay, like, you got this reading and you felt like, that pit in your stomach, like, oh my gosh, like, like they said, like, I'm not going to be together with my person. That doesn't actually mean you're not going to be together with your person, because again, energy always changes. Okay. And energy is nothing but our thoughts. You need to change your thoughts. That means a part of you thinks that you're not going to be together with that person, and you need to address that part of you. Why did that tarot reader tell you that? Because there's a part of you that maybe either thinks that, or you need to readdress something within yourself. Okay. And again, tarot readings change. You could get a completely different tarot reading from what you got like 5 minutes ago, right? So that's why like there's no point taking anything to heart that much, because nothing is set in stone. Every single reader will say, you guys, energy changes, nothing's ever set in stone. Okay. So if a tarot reader says, even if you get like a couple of tarot readings, where they're saying the same thing, again, that just means you need to change your thoughts around that thing. But like, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I have gotten negative tarot readings and the opposite ended up happening. Something positive happened in the 3D. Why? Because my mind rejected that. Like, I feel like, I had done so much work on myself, so much self-concept, so much like, changing my assumptions, right? That like that tarot reading was nothing but just like, maybe like it was a purge. Sometimes, a tarot reading can even be a purge. Like for a lot of you that, don't want actual purges in your like, 3D reality, then maybe like, consider that, okay, like I got a negative tarot reading. Maybe that was just something purging out my subconscious mind. Like it's kind of like nightmares. When you get a nightmare, I actually get excited when I get nightmares, because I'm like, okay, something is purging to finally leave my subconscious mind. And like, that's also another thing. You need to give everything a positive meaning. Okay. You also need to understand, you guys, that tarot is a bridge of incidents. Every single thing that happens, every single sign, message, movement, interaction that you receive from when you start consciously manifesting to your end goal, to you being in that reality where you have your full manifestation, is a bridge of incidents. So maybe you needed that tarot reading for you to go even harder on your manifestation. Okay, like I know this is the type of person that I am, and I know some of you can, relate to this. Like if someone gives me a bad tarot reading or like a negative tarot reading where they're just like, oh, your SP is not coming back, you're not going to achieve this, that makes me want to go even harder. So like, take everything as motivation. Okay, like I don't like using the word failure, but like, like that, because I don't think there's such a thing as failure. There's pending success but not failures. But like, for example, like JK Rowling, like, she submitted her like the whatever transcript is it called, whatever manuscript, I don't know, like her story Harry Potter, to like 12 different publishers before getting her big break, right? So she just never gave up. That's the thing, persistence. You just do not give up. So I wouldn't even say like, those 12 publishers rejecting her were failures. They were just like, tools that helped her go even harder, that helped her develop her story in an even better manner, so that she finally ended up getting like her book published, and not naturally super successful, right? So never accept anything as the end all be all. That's what some of you guys do. You're just like, oh my gosh, the 3D showed me this, oh my gosh, this tarot reader said this, oh my gosh, my friends or family are saying I shouldn't do this, that. Like first of all, they're just reflecting back you to you. Once you really deeply understand that you are the only conscious thinker in your reality, and everyone is just reflecting back an aspect of you, an aspect, not even the entirety of you. This is also very important to remember, you guys, okay? Because I don't want you to think like, okay, if you have a bad experience then you're just a bad person, or you have like no self-love, because that is not true. That is just not true. They're just reflecting a part of you that needs to be addressed. The world is a mirror. And one other assumption that you really need to have is that everything is happening for you to get your goal. Let me repeat that. Everything is happening for you to get your goal. The world is on your side. It is rooting for you, okay? Like I know some people sort of have this belief that like, oh, people are out to get me, social media, capitalism, this, that, the government. Like you have to start thinking like they're there for your protection. Everything's happening for you to live a good, happy, healthy, fun, peaceful life, okay? Like you have to make everything work in your favor. That is like once you start doing that, it becomes second nature. You start like automatically thinking of the positives. Like that's something that I've always had ingrained in me, which is why I feel like my life has been like pretty good so far. Like I really don't have that many complaints. Like I mean, yeah, if you've been following me, y'all know, like I know I say this in a lot of my videos, but I'm living comfortably in New York City in a luxury apartment with enough money to like travel anywhere in the world really, and I go on trips like every month or every other month. Like literally every aspect of my life is thriving, which is yet another affirmation you should use, okay? And I feel like it, like I was the type of person that I just like naturally thought positively, like, oh, I failed the midterm, okay, well I can make up for it on the final. I can still pass the class if I do well on the quizzes after, the homework after. Maybe if I failed the midterm, that obviously means I need to go to office hours. I need to hone my skills. I need to like read more, study more. Like I just never accept failure. That's also something you need to do. Stop accepting failure, because there is no such thing. Like that's just a concept, okay? It's illusory. But like don't accept anything that is not your end goal, that is not your full manifestation, and you need to keep going, okay? Like I told you, like in the middle of watching tarot readings, I kept affirming, and the tarot reading like switched up, okay? Like in the beginning, like I was getting all these like sort of like, I don't like saying like negative cards, but cards that felt a little bit discouraging, and then the tarot reader herself said, or the cartomancy reader herself said, wait, you were right and I was wrong. Like actually things are going to change. Like she just reflected back, and like I was like affirming, like I just like in my mind, like I was just like sitting there listening to her. I was just affirming. So again, this is really helpful, and the more you do that, you guys, the less time you're going to spend like reacting, getting triggered, this, that. When you're affirming, like you literally just don't have space for that old story to creep in and settle, okay? Like even if you're thinking of the old story, you guys, like if you're even affirming while you're thinking of it, like it's changing itself, okay? Like you're still stepping into a new timeline. So if like anything triggers you, what happens is like what you do after that, even if you react and emotionally react, you need to still keep going, okay? Because yeah, what matters the most is like what you do after, and then you're strengthening these like neural pathways. And yeah, my point is like just don't give up. Affirming and persisting is like the way to go, because I know some people they can just automatically get into a state, and I'm really like, if you're that type of person, you guys, like that's amazing. But I know that some people need a little bit of extra work to get into that state, okay? But you just need to like um whatever makes you happy, like along the process. Like if you feel like you need to get a tarot reading, if you feel like you need to watch one or two readings, that's okay. I would say like don't obsessively keep looking for validation, okay? Because then you're also telling something to your brain. But another life hack, and like this, I was talking about this to a client, is just even reframe the act of you watching that tarot reading. Okay, reframe the act of it. Now, what do I mean by this? So tell yourself, okay, every time, if you're going to be watching tarot readings, make it work for you. Every time I watch a tarot reading, I'm tapping into my person's energy and they're thinking about me as well. There is a reason why you felt drawn to, maybe watch that tarot reading. Maybe your person's higher self, wanted you to see that. Okay, like again, that's just an assumption. I know like some people won't believe in that, blah blah blah, because technically your person's self, their higher self, their whatever, it's all you. Okay, but like for the purposes, like if you're a spiritual person, if you're into all that, just tell yourself like maybe your higher self wanted you to watch that. Okay, maybe this was inspired action on your behalf to see where you are with your manifestations, to see where you can improve. Okay, that's why you need to start seeing tarot as a tool rather than like even external validation. I know I literally just said external validation, but like if you just tell yourself like, okay, you know what, actually, even like I would even say like getting tarot readings, or like even watching tarot readings on YouTube is still better than like messing with the 3D or checking the actual 3D. Okay, but like because tarot is a tool, it has like so much wisdom and depth behind it. So it just whatever action you do, like give it a different meaning, assign a different meaning. Don't tell yourself that, oh, I'm watching tarot out of desperation, or like I need validation. Just be like, no, I'm actually watching a tarot. I'm actually watching this video to get to know myself on a deeper level and get my desires in an even faster way. Or like yeah. And again, like I will say, if you're robotic, like, if you are affirming, then again, don't keep switching up your affirmations. But I'm the type of person where I'll like affirm a couple of things, but I'll still script the other things that I want, because like across like like just as I grow, learn, experience things, on my journey, like I realized like, oh, actually this is what I want in my dream career, this is what I want in my relationship. Because a lot of you have a good picture of what your dream relationship, what your dream career looks like, but actually what I noticed is like the more you manifest, the more you especially affirm for self-concept, you raise your standards. Okay, you raise the stakes, and you just tell yourself like, oh, okay, before I wanted this, but now I actually want this and this in my relationship. And do not be afraid to ask, you guys. Whatever your desire is, you are not asking for too much. I have seen people do the most for their partners. Okay, and like don't get bogged down by like what other people say. Like don't keep looking on Quora like, oh, is it okay if I want this out of my relationship, this, that. I have seen everything. Trust, I have seen everything. Okay, I know some people, and I know this, guys, like if this triggers you, like I'm just apologies in advance, but like I there are people out there who are with like I have noticed like there are women out there who are with like provider men, or just whoever, that pay for everything. And if you want that, then go for that. I'm not going to stop you. I'm here to help you get your desires. Okay, and like I just want to say, you guys, like don't judge other people for their desires. Okay, because I do feel like, I don't want to say blocks your manifestation, but it's like if someone else wants something in their life, stop taking that personally. Okay, because I know people get triggered by that, this, that. Okay, whatever the heck it is that you want, you can ask for it. Okay, I'm just here to help you get what you want. And there's nothing wrong, like as long as you're not like wishing harm on someone, that's okay. But I'm telling you, I have seen everything. I have seen like people who pay for like their partners, like most things, they treat them, they spoil them. I've seen people who like move mountains to be with their person, who like fly across the world to be with their person, who like um who like have even like left their family members and turned against their family members for their person, because they were that much in love with their person. I'm not saying manifest, I'm not like by any means like encouraging you to do that, but my point is it exists. I will even say, this is kind of a funny one, but like maybe some of you have heard of like prison boyfriends, right? Like you guys, there are women that like literally pay like men in jail, like they have like prison boyfriends, they write them like letters, and like these guys, like they're just like these women are so head over heels in love with like these men, and they're just like like they pay for them and stuff. Like these men will be like, oh, like can you buy me this, can you buy me that, and they do that because like I know there's like some people out there that are just like, oh, I feel like I have to like earn money in order to impress my SP, or like my SP is a little bit like like is just someone who wants to live like a lavish lifestyle, and I don't feel like I'm financially stable enough. You guys, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like I'm kind of like presenting both sides of like the situation here when it comes to money, because I do know that is a big thing when it comes to relationships, right? Like and, I guess like just based off like what I've heard or seen from societal standards. It's like, there's a certain gender that, like, cares a lot about looks. There's a certain gender that cares about money. Like, I'm not saying that's always the case, but my point is, like, you guys, the real point here is that you don't need to do that much. You don't need to be a millionaire to impress the person that you want. You don't need to be, like, the hottest, like, most beautiful person, whatever, to impress the person that you want. You don't need to, like, lose weight to get what you want. You don't need to, like, you really don't need to do anything but change your thoughts. Like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, I need to go to the gym, I need to get buff, I need to get this so my person, finds me attractive, or I need to get a better job, because you deserve to be loved regardless. Okay, like, I know I gave that money example, but it's just an example. But, like, you deserve to, like, have your SPB with you, even if you're in the process of, like, building your wealth, this, that. But, like, you just need to dictate that. I'm just, like, presenting different examples and different scenarios, and, like, presenting you with solutions, okay, just to tell you that, like, whatever you're doing, as long, like, I will say, as long as you're working on yourself, developing yourself, like, just working on yourself concept, like, that is enough. Okay, but again, like, don't, like, this is, like, common sense, and I've never come across anyone that, like, wanted anything, like, too crazy. Okay, like, or like, I've never come across anyone that wanted to wish harm or anything. They just want what they've seen. And, like, I've seen, like, again, I presented, both sides of the situation when it came to, like, money. I've seen, like, people just get, like, the most. Okay, get the most, and the only difference between them and someone who is not getting the most is their self concept. Okay, so for example, like, this reminds me of that. I think I said this in another video, but this reminds me of that quote where, like, there's people that are half as qualified, as you, that are getting, like, more than what you're getting. Okay, I don't know if that's the exact quote. I don't think so. Like, I never remember, like, quotes verbatim, but yeah, my point is, like, there are people out there that are actually less qualified than you, that are maybe less, whatever, that are still, getting into relationships, getting their dream career, getting whatever. Like, I'm not even trying to be mean, but it's true. Like, the only, difference is that, they believe in themselves more. Okay, like, yeah, I'm not gonna give, like, specific examples because I don't want to offend anyone, but, like, I maybe I will give this example because, like, I see that there's a lot of, like, this is just one example. Okay, like, I'm just presenting examples. There's a lot of women that are absolutely beautiful, that have beauty, brains, everything, and they're still not getting wifed up, they're still not getting girlfriended up, whatever, right? Just because, they need to work on their self-concept, because, like, they think that, like, maybe there's some part of them that, like, they just need to work on their self-worth. That's it. I've also noticed the same with men. I see good, high value, high quality men that have, good values, morals, that are financially stable, that have a lot going on for them, that are still single, that are still not manifesting, their dream relationship or finding that dream partner, just because, like, they feel like, maybe not worthy enough, or they also need to work on self-worth. Okay, and, like, yeah, like my point is, it really has less to do with, what you have materially and what you have, like, superficially, like, looks wise, this, that, and has way more to do with your self-concept. Okay, like, that is literally it, just self-concept and confidence and, safety and security. That's why I always tell you, like, in a lot of videos I always mention that safety, security aspect. I feel like, the people that aren't in their dream relationships or their dream career, there's a part of them that feels a little bit unsafe. They feel like, they can't get that, right? And, like, tarot sometimes reflects that back. So, if you get cards, like, let's say, Seven of Swords, so, that means betrayal, right? But that can also mean self-betrayal. How are you betraying yourself? In what ways are you betraying yourself and not letting this manifestation come in? Because, you guys, tarot, actually, it's not even, like, really sense, it's not really channeling their energy as much as it is your energy, in terms of your perception of them and what you think deep down. Because, again, you can get a different tarot reading in, like 5 minutes later, right? So, because, like, energy is ever changing. But, like, sometimes tarot readings will be consistent. You will get the same cards again and again. Like, some people even say, oh, this card keeps haunting me, right? So, I mean, like, sometimes the cards are really good. I know, like, when I was doing tarot, I would get the King of Pentacles all the time, which, showed me that I'm going to be with a good, hardworking, ambitious person, because, that's what I am, and there's nothing wrong in wanting someone, that's the same as you. And, like, that is, like, what I have manifested. I've actually manifested multiple people like that, and I would, like, also, keep getting, like, the Empress, for example. And, like, if you guys see, like, like, cards like this, like, King of Pentacles, Empress, also see that as yourself. Like, view yourself as that. Like, the Empress is someone who's abundant, someone who's confident, someone who's strong, resilient, someone who's nurturing, caring, like, even see tarot as, like, your strengths, like, the way that, your person perceives you and the way that you should perceive yourself. Because see, the way that you perceive yourself is important. Okay, that is how other people will perceive you, but you also have to have that assumption that they're also perceiving you. Because here's the thing, sometimes people could have really good self-concept, like really really good self-concept, they could be very confident, but they're just not getting, their SP to see them that way, because like they have this assumption that like, okay, everyone's seeing about my SP. So that's also really important. You got to change the story about your SP. And I'm telling you, doing self-concept, robotically affirming self-concept will help you change that story a lot easier. Because sometimes, and I know this might be a little bit of a limiting belief, like people will only like focus on their SP, only focus on what they're doing, affirming for them, SP loves me, they're obsessed with me, they're this, that. And then they like, there's a little, they sometimes create a little bit of resistance because their self-concept isn't at that point where like, they can believe that or feel that. And again, you don't necessarily need to believe it. I feel like the only thing that needs to believe it is your subconscious mind. Like it's a matter of what impresses onto your subconscious mind, you guys. Like, I explain this to my clients and I've explained this in other videos, but your conscious mind and subconscious mind are different things. Sometimes they, what's the word, coalesce, or sometimes, they're in alignment, sometimes they sort of like sync up, right? Because sometimes, when you have that gut feeling, it ends up manifesting, right? But sometimes when you do have that gut feeling, it doesn't end up manifesting. Or sometimes you do have like a good feeling and like the opposite manifests. Or sometimes you have like that, again, bad feeling and like you don't manifest, right? Because it's all about what's going on in your subconscious mind. That's why, like, you see all these coaches and like, books talking about like, subconscious mind, hack the subconscious mind. Okay. And I know, like, again, that's also just a belief in itself, like, that's also something that you technically manifested. Even like facts that you see or something that you manifested. But I'm not going to get like that deep into that, because yeah, I don't want to confuse you too much. But my point is, you guys, like, make everything work in your favor. Okay. Just have positive assumptions about your SP rather than saying negative things about your SP or your desires to other people. Like, oh, money's hard to make. Oh, my SP did this. Oh, my SP is a player. Oh, they said this to me. That, start seeing them in a different light. Start like, explaining to them in a different light. Even envision a scene where you're talking to your friend about like, oh, my SP is so nice to me. He always treats me so well. They always treat me, they always, give me attention. They're so loyal and committed to me. I just feel so safe and secure in my relationship. Actually, that's also a nice scene to envision. Like, oh, I always feel so safe and secure in my relationship. I feel so, spoiled and cared for, and I feel committed to. I'm so like happy that I'm receiving loyalty. Like, even for a lot of you, like, just tell yourself, if you have like a certain pattern, right? Like, oh, I keep attracting the same people. Say, oh, I'm so happy I finally broke out of that pattern. I'm so happy that, I'm finally attracting good energy, good people, the best versions of people into my life. But like, stop saying that. Stop repeating, oh, why do I always attract the same people, players? Why do I always like, get played? Or, why do I keep like going through the same patterns? Because you guys, your subconscious mind is picking up on this. Okay. Your subconscious mind is nothing but a proof producing machine, as Sammy Ingram says it. And it's only reflecting back to you what you're telling it. I'm telling you, your subconscious mind, it does have this infinite intelligence to it, but it's a matter of you programming it. Okay. Even, I give this example up, but a computer, it can be the smartest thing or the dumbest thing, but it depends on how you program it. That's why, like, again, jobs like, like my job, like software engineers, programmers exist, because we need people to like, write scripts or, write code to, get out certain data, right? To, what do you call, to extract certain data so that we can get, the output that we want, right? Or like, just write code to get the output that we want. Because again, computer stores so much data, but not all of it is useful. Like, actually, that's literally my job, like, like data quality management, like, because we don't need all the data all the time. You don't need to like, tap into the negative things, negative programmings that your subconscious mind is like, constantly like storing, right? Because again, you're storing literally everything. You're like, even when you sleep, through your peripheral vision, like you are like account, like, yeah, your subconscious mind is literally just observing and storing everything. So, but it's a matter of you programming your mind to only show you what you want. Okay, hence the reticular activating system. I talked about that. So yeah, but anyways, okay, this was a really really long video, and I know I was all over the place, but I really do hope this helped. Okay, so again, like, use tarot to manifest. Use tarot to see where your limiting beliefs lie, and use tarot to see what what good qualities you have. What have you mastered? Because I promise you, when you work on self-concept, even if you don't have your full manifestation, I promise you have definitely improved in other areas of your life. Or even, like, for when I was started doing like, self-concept affirmations, even just blanket affirmations, I saw that I was doing better at work. I saw that, like, I was like doing better socially, attracting like, just better experiences. Okay, like, people were just like showing up for me differently. It's just like self-concept work never goes to waste. So don't do it as like, oh, I'm doing this to manifest my SP. You're you're just doing this to manifest the version of you that's in that, desired reality that has what you want. You're doing this to manifest a new you that, is happy and at peace and has what you want and it feels worthy of what you want. And again, even if that feeling doesn't come at first, you got to just keep going. And even if that feeling never comes, again, it's what's in your subconscious mind. Because I know there's a lot of people out there, you guys, that have jobs that, still consciously feel like they have imposter syndrome. They don't feel good enough for that job, but they still have that job. You know why? Because their dominant beliefs in their subconscious mind is that of, okay, you deserve financial stability. Okay, you deserve to have a good, nice, 6-figure job. Like, I'm actually talking about myself a lot of the times, you guys. Like, I do affirm that I'm smart, intelligent, all that, but I work with very, very talented people. And instead of, like, seeing that as, like, a threat, I see that as, oh, what are they doing? What can I do to be like them? How can I, use what I'm learning to advance myself? Like that's really all that is. You make everything work for you and see everything as a tool that's helping you get what you want. See everything as the bridge of incidents that's unfolding for you to get every single thing you want, whether it's negative movement, no movement, positive movement. It is all happening for you to get what you want. And again, the more you affirm, like the faster, like, and this might be a limiting belief, but I will say, like, when I spent time like diligently robotically affirming, I showed up for myself every day, other people started showing up for me. My SP started showing up for me. Everything in my life just started getting better. Okay, but it does, if you want someone to commit to you, if you want someone to be consistent with you, you just have to be consistent with yourself. And I'm not saying you need to do this 24/7. And please do not skip out on events or like work or something to affirm. I'm not saying that at all, but like, whenever you have time, whenever, like, maybe you're at work, but all you need to do is, like, clean up data, or it's like, maybe you're doing like kind of like a mundane task, then use that time to affirm. Whatever time you guys do have, you guys, use I'm sorry, I say you guys so much, like, just make everything work for you. Okay, this should be easy. Make life easier for you. That is the best advice that I can give you. Okay, don't make things harder than they need to be. So, every time you drink water, just tell yourself, like, oh yeah, every time I drink water, I shift to my desired reality. Okay, affirm in the shower, affirm when you brush your teeth, affirm like in the bus, affirm when you're walking around. Like, try to really maximize every moment. Affirm when you're sleeping, but also live your best life, you guys. Your desires are there for you. Okay, you just need to understand that, like, everything's at a pause. I know, like, some people even have their fears, like, okay, if I'm not affirming, like, what if SP is doing this, what if SP is doing that? First of all, stop putting them on the pedestal, you guys. Your SP is there waiting for you. That desired reality where they're there waiting for you, in love with you, that exists. Okay, you do not need to be worried about, like, what's happening in the middle, or are they going to date someone else? No, if you are, like, consciously affirming, you're robotically affirming, it's all happening for you to get what you want. Trust when I say that. Okay, like, all your fears won't manifest, your doubts won't manifest, you just won't get that triggered. Okay, but I will say, like, when you think of your person, when you think of your desire, when you think of your manifestation, take that time to affirm. Okay, again, just make things easier. Like, you don't really need to, again, like, some people, like, they do too much, like, oh, I'm gonna set aside, like, hours and hours to do that. I mean, if you have the downtime, do that, but don't put your life on pause, don't put your life on hold for this. Okay, live your best life, have fun. I really like just reprogramming, my mind during, like, sleeping. That's why I really, really love affirmation tapes, or, subliminals. I even make them. So if you want me to make one for you, let me know. Service that I offer. But, just make them in your own voice. Download the Parrot app and listen to it as you sleep. And even if, like, it, maybe if you feel like turning it off or something, I mean, that's okay. Just, you can turn it off as well. But, like, I really feel like, every, like, moment you have, rather than spending it, like, stressing over your manifestation, just make it all work for you. Okay, so yeah, oh my gosh, that was so long. Okay, one other thing I do want to point out is that I do have a self-concept challenge going on my Patreon, as well as a signs challenge, where we get together as a group and look for signs, and, or, like, I tell you signs to look for, and if anyone in the group sees those signs, that means everyone's getting their manifestation. So we're using the group's collective energy to amplify and accelerate, our individual manifestations. And that's just another belief. Okay, like, that's just another assumption that I have. When multiple people manifest for the same thing, for others, for the same desire, they get their manifestation. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, check out the description box below, where you can join the Patreon. It's literally just $5 a month for, like, everything that I just mentioned. And I also write, like, motivational posts reminding you to not give up on your manifestations. Moreover, not give up on yourself. This is not about your SP or your manifestation. It's all about you. So yeah, anyways, I will for real go ahead and end the video right here. Always know you have the power to change your story at any given moment. And yeah, I intend that every single person watching this gets their manifestation to full fruition for the good of all and harm to none. And I will see you all next time. Happy manifesting.